It's been a few days since we last did an update, and there's been a lot happening in the market. Of course, I need to update you on my trade because the bear flag is kind of playing out perfectly to a T. We also have some new developments in the old geopolitical tensions that are happening in the world, and of course, this is affecting both the crypto market and the overall market. So we need to figure out where we want to be to position ourselves for the next move. So that's exactly what we're going to be discussing, and I'm going to share completely transparently what I'm doing in the market. Previously, we discussed here that what we're seeing forming right here was a very similar bear flag to what we saw forming right here. No guarantees that we do break down. However, it gives us the opportunity to either go long at the bottom of the bear flag or short at the top, depending on your strategy. Maybe you do both, maybe you do one or the other. For me right now, as you've noticed, I'm still going long on the bounces, generating cash flow from that. And then I have my bear market plan, my DCA strategy, which I'll use that cash that I make from the bounces to then buy more Bitcoin at a discount. Remember, the last time I bought Bitcoin heavily was at $60,000, and my next plan will be as we go lower. Looking at Bitcoin's price a little bit more, depending on which way you look at it, whether it's a bear flag, whether it's the pennant, whatever you look at it, right? What we saw was a push into this purple zone. Now, as we've discussed, that purple zone is between 74,000 and 77,000. I thought that was going to play into being very strong resistance for Bitcoin, considering how much of a strong support it was before we went to all-time highs. So the way I get these zones, like this purple zone, green zone, purple zone, these supports and resistances, just by looking at the history of Bitcoin. Where has Bitcoin found incredible support? Where has it found incredible resistance? And most likely, those are going to be zones in which Bitcoin plays with as it moves either down or upwards. So what we're seeing right here, am I worried about this? Do I actually think that this is going to be the end of the run? No, I still actually think we're going to go a little bit higher from here because, guys, remember, the psychology of a market is it essentially does what the majority of people think it's not going to do. So as the war broke out, everyone thinks, okay, all of the money is going to go into gold, all of the money is going to go into silver, into oil, and all the money is going to leave the risk on assets like Bitcoin, right? Like altcoins. And in fact, we saw almost exactly the opposite thing happen, which has caught a lot of people off guard. Now, the one outlier there, the correct play, was actually oil. We've seen oil rally loads, and today actually it's not at all-time highs, I don't think. So metals just sold like the crisis is over, but oil is trading like it just started. So we're up about 3.5% with oil, and gold and silver are actually down. So again, guys, it's not just crypto and Bitcoin where the majority are caught off guard. It's literally the entire markets. That's why I've built my trading and investing strategy around being a contrarian trader and investor, because for the most part, retail are wrong, right? It's just how the markets work, right? And when I understood that, that's when I started to position myself, and it seems to work over the longer periods of time. Of course, these short-term trades that I've been showing you have been working in this market environment, but of course, that's not guaranteed. Now, I think the very best way to position ourselves is for the long term. So finding assets we believe in for the next 5 to 10 years and positioning ourselves, or myself, during the panicked times, which we're in right now. If we break above the 200-day MA, then my base case may change. I may not think, okay, well, we're going to go lower. Maybe the bottom is in. And that's where lies the key to my investment and trading strategy, right? I'm not here to claim that I can tell the future. I'm not here to claim that I'm some genius, right? But what I am doing every single day is positioning myself in a way that I can benefit from either the upside or the downside, right? And a lot of people seem to have they find problems in this, right? The strategy that I've put in place, right, is a little bit of an iteration from what I did in the last bear market, and then an iteration again on what I did in the first bear market I was in, which was 2018. Now, the most significant amount of dollar gains I've made has been positioning myself in bear markets, right? So in this market, the key, I'm going to try and make profit in the short-term rallies we have until we're out of the bear market. What I mean by that is I'm catching the bounces, but I'm closing out the positions, right? This may mean that I miss out on further upside, right? Which would be very annoying because I did have 6 Bitcoin, which I opened this trade, and now I have 2.7. So imagine if Bitcoin now goes back to all-time highs. Of course, I could have made a lot more money just holding all of that. But that would be silly in my mind because that's not preparing for more downside. But what I'm doing is trying to make the best of the bounces in a way that I know and I believe that I'm actually got quite an edge at. I'm quite good at longing these bounces, right? And finding where the psychological lows are. I'm nowhere near as good at shorting. So I just don't need to be doing everything all at once. I'll catch you in the next one.